Okay, I'm looking at review 4B. Now, this review should appear in your book right after chapter 21. It should come on page, let's see if I can find it here. On page 181, it looks like, right after the end of chapter 21. So this is a review that covers the grammar from chapters 18 to 21. And for this week, it looks like what was assigned was exercise 4B here, identification of verb forms and principal parts. And also 4C, which covers imperfect, present, and perfect tenses. So maybe I'll fit this into one video, or maybe this will be two. So on the left, I've got again the textbook, and on the right over here I've got a Google Doc because I chose to put a table in, as I think is easier for correcting on my end certainly, and it might be easier for you to write these things out this way. So you can see it sort of roughly maps to the exercise Venier Batis here, and then we've got tense, person, and number here, and we'll put those in these first three blanks here next to the verb. And then underneath, it asks you to give the principal parts of each verb. 1, 2, 3, 4, and here 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now for this, I'm going to probably bring in the Latin to English glossary that is also in the textbook. You can find it like this. I mean, this is what you usually look at, I think, if you want to get to the different chapters. You can go this way, but if you close that and click reference materials, you're going to see one of the choices is Latin to English vocabulary, and then we can close that and we can page through that like this. I'm going to zoom this up a little bit. So for now I'm going to keep it aside, but it may come in handy in a second, so I'll leave it down there. So let's start with Venier Batis. I think I'm just going to do two, maybe three questions from this exercise, and we'll see about the next one in a few minutes. So Venier Batis, if you're looking it over and you want to think tense, person, and number. Tense again is it present? Is it imperfect? Is it future tense? And here it shouldn't be too hard to once again see that there is that BA in there, which identifies this as imperfect tense. So that would be like someone was coming. It looks like, and the next thing you have to identify is person and number. So do that by again looking at the ending here. The TIS ending is for second person, and number refers to singular or plural. So here, all we're going to do is write second, and here we're going to write plural. So from that, we can deduce that this means you all, the TIS ending is second person plural, you all were coming. And that's all that's required there. Underneath, we're going to need principal parts. So here's where I am going to bring in this. If you can't find it in the chapter, the verb's principal parts, you can find it in the glossary. So I'm going to sort of skip ahead to where we find V for venio. Let's see if we can find it here. There it is right here. So those are the four principal parts for the verb venio. So we're going to basically just copy in venio, venire, veni, and venturus. So I'm going to move this back down and just type that out now. So here, venio, I'm going to make this not bold, venio, venire. I have found a way to put long marks in, so I'm going to say venire, veni, venturus. It is not critical for you to have these long marks in, but it is critical for the difference between, let's say, habere, which is second conjugation. See that long E there? That's second conjugation. And say ducere, and that is a shorty with no long mark there. So it is critical for telling the difference between second and third conjugation. But here we are with venire. So I am going to use just that there. I won't ask you to put in all the long marks, but For infinitives, it does help to distinguish. So that's number one. Venie batis is imperfect second person plural, and the principal parts are venio, venire, veni, and venturus. Let's look at cogitavistis is the second one over here. So let's think about that. Now the istis ending, you may see that tis and think, okay, that's present tense, but it is not. You see the V. That's why I've underlined it there. You can't really see it with this red stuff here, but I've underlined that V because that is a sort of a tense indicator for perfect tense. So this istis here is the ending, and this part of the verb right here is called, once again, the perfect stem. So this is going to be perfect tense, and it is also, as venie batis was, second person plural. And you're not asked to translate it, I guess. Let me just make sure of that. Yeah, you're not asked to translate it. But if you were going to translate it, this would be you thought, not you were thinking or you are thinking, but you thought. For principal parts, this is from, whoops, this is from cogito, cogitare. Cogito, cogitare. If I wanted to put the long A in there, I could do it like that now. Now, maybe you're not sure what these other principal parts are, or maybe you weren't even sure about these two. But if you are not, again, you can go back to this glossary here. And let's see if we can get to the C's. Scroll down here and we'll find cogito, and there it is. So it's a standard first conjugation verb, cogito, and then are, avi, atus. And it's okay to just use the endings there because that is very standard for first conjugation. So cogito, if we want, we can just go like this. Are, avi, and atus. Again, you're not required to put those long marks in, but cogito, cogitare, cogitavi, cogitatus. So that's the first two for exercise 4B. Let's do one more. Number 3 is konnichiebam. Konnichiebam. Should not want. I'm going to bold this. So once again, should not be hard to identify that BA there as imperfect tense. So we'll write that in. The M tells you that this is first person singular. So we're going to put first, and we're going to put singular right there. So this is something like I was doing something. Now again, say you have no idea, you don't remember where you've seen the verb konnichiebam or konnichio. We happen to have the C's up here, so will we get lucky? Let's see. Okay, here it is right here. Konnichio, konnicere, konnieki, konjectus. We get the English word conjecture from this, and that's kind of a long story, but there it is right there. Also, one good thing about this, another good thing about the glossary is that it shows you what chapter this word appeared in first. So this is chapter 21, which is just the last chapter. So if I wanted to look through chapter 21 right now, somewhere in that chapter I should find these four principal parts. Konnichio, konnicere, konnieki, konjectus. So I'm going to move this guy out of the way again. And we'll say konnichio, konnicere, konnicere. Some reason that's sounding like a no, that's right. Konnicere, konjeki, and konjectus. This verb happens to mean to throw. So if we were translating the verb, once again, it's first person, it's singular, so we would say I. From the M we see that, and then the BA says was. And then the verb is to throw. So I was throwing, going from the back to the front there. I was throwing. And that is it. I hope that gets everybody started on the right path. And I will make another video in a second for what will be exercise 4C in this review. You can feel free to set up a table just like I have. That'll certainly make it easier for me to correct, as I said. Okay, hope this helps.